世界はこんなにも残酷じゃないか。
You saw the title, you know what we're here for. Before we get into the scene that is to me a great insight in an overlooked character, in Bertholdt, let's have a bit of context first. Seeking to restore humanity's diminishing hope, the Survey Corps embark on a mission to retake Wall Maria, where the battle against the merciless Titans take the stage once again. Returning to the tattered Shiganshina district that was once his home, Eren and the Corps find the town oddly unoccupied by Titans. Even after the outer gate is plugged, they strangely encounter no opposition. The mission progresses smoothly until Armin, highly suspicious of the enemy's absence, discovers distressing signs of a potential scheme against them. This is when Bertholdt and Reiner, former comrades and traitors to the Survey Corps, enter the fight against our protagonists to decide how the ongoing war will end. The key to this war? The Survey Corps strive through countless sacrifices to carve a path towards victory and uncover the secrets of the world of Attack on Titan. Who is actually the enemy? And our scene of the day will partly answer that question because we're going to study one gear of that mysterious enemy, a very important gear, the bearer of the colossal Titan, Bertholdt Hoover. The scene starts as Armin is trying to disturb Bertholdt into letting his guard down by taunting him on Annie, his warrior comrade imprisoned by the Survey Corps. However, something changed in the air. Something changed in Bertholdt. The usually shy and emotional Bertholdt does not react to the attempt to reach his feelings. He remains composed, focused, cold, in front of a trembling Armin. You have to remember, with the colossal Titan, Bertholdt is basically a nuclear bomb. It doesn't get more menacing than that. Don't let the contrast of his calm and reserved nature fool you. As Bertholdt sees through the Corps' entire plan, an interesting point it comes into light when it comes to Bertholdt. Until now, he always represented the idea of untapped potential. He's unbelievably versatile and ranks high in every skills in the book, as it was presented to us when head instructor Shadis described him back in the training days. He proves once again that he's very smart here, but as Shadis put it back in the day, as brilliant as Bertholdt is in many ways, he lacks the confidence and the conviction to bring that potential into light. No kidding, he does. He grew up as a child mass murderer that was brainwashed and forced to recognize that he was a monster ever since he was a kid. But something happened here. Something changed. The potential has been reached. Bertholdt starts to explain the realization he got before being interrupted by Mikasa, and we then visually and in a very brutal fashion realize that something indeed changed within him. I mean, who could physically handle Mikasa like this? And the latter says it herself. It seemed like a different person.
すごく変な気分だ。恐怖もあまり感じていないし、周りがよく見える。きっとどんな結果になっても受け入れられる気がする。そうだ、誰も悪くない。全部仕方なかった。だって世界はこんなにも残酷じゃないか。
飛び上がったぞ。まさか。
しかしライナーはすぐ近くですよ。
一旦離れろ。
早くか。
Okay, this scene. Where to begin? There's so much to say. First of all, we get the reason of this shift within the man thanks to his speech. It's a very interesting paradox. A mix of nihilism with suicidal tendencies and rejection of the world as it is, but also a certain form of mindfulness in the Buddhism sense of the word. Accepting things as they are, making abstraction of the painful thinking to focus on the present moment and do what needs to be done. There's also a certain degree of determinism, as if everyone in this was there to play their part in the grander fate, and that whatever will be, will be. All of these ideas have a common root though, the avoidance or overcoming of guilt. And oh boy does Bertholdt carry a lot of guilt. Do you remember back in the training days, Bertholdt's odd sleeping positions? One of them that is purposefully shown to us is this one. This position is the same as the Hangman Tarot card. And what a coincidence! It is also revealed to us that Bertholdt often has nightmares of the old man that hanged himself after he met the warriors, back when they first attacked Walmaria when they were children. This old man committed suicide because of the guilt of leaving all his fellow townspeople to die as he fled running away. Ever since then, Bertholdt has developed an obsession for that man, talking about him multiple times with his comrades. He sees himself in that guilt, that need for judgment, but also with the depressing loneliness of a man ridden with guilt. Because yes, Bertholdt has always been alone ever since this started. Even in the training days, he was with Reiner and Annie, but Annie didn't want to talk to anybody, and Reiner had a PTSD problem of having a double personality. Which means that when Bertholdt tried to bring Reiner back to reality, he would kind of burst his protective bubble and bring him back to the awful reality. So he didn't do it and preferred to stay alone and leave Reiner in his soldier mentality. This feeling of loneliness of his is even more gripping in chapter 48, when he screams crying, "Please someone find us." And we tie back to today's scene, with him flying and soaring through the sky, alone, with all hopes of the warriors on his shoulders, ready to face his death. Again, alone. Talking about soaring through the skies, that's another theme that comes with Bertholdt. The theme of Godhood, because he's the bearer of the colossal titan, which is nicknamed the God of Destruction. The fact that he literally ascends in this scene, defying gravity, rising above everyone else as he seems to see things clearly, mimics an ascension to Godhood. It becomes even more apparent when you see the end result of this, a 60-meter steaming unstoppable deity. It also gives an unexpected credibility to his words as he's rising, as if he reached another plane of understanding, still with the Godhood theme. Freedom is a huge theme in Attack on Titan, and you can't help but feel that freedom when you see him releasing all the burden he has, wind in his hair, soaring through the skies. As a side note, look at this shot. It feels like a new dawn rising and a literal sun crushing down on everyone at the same time. I love the contrast of it. And finally, when talking about this scene, we have to talk about the song, which is interesting because it was used before as the warrior theme, but now there are lyrics that have been added to the motive, or at least this part of the motive. And the lyrics are very interesting because they bring up another huge point of Attack on Titan, the futility of meaning and dreams in front of death. What's fascinating about those words is that they seem to describe the experience of the Survey Corps soldiers as a whole, riding together, flying together, chained by duty no matter what their dreams and desires were. But they also apply to Bertholdt in very specific ways, with the old man line reminding us of the hanged man, or the smell of the girl's hair which reminds us of Bertholdt's love for Annie. Or we could talk about the shoulder-to-shoulder line followed by never surrender that reminds us of that scene before the battle begins with Bertholdt and Reiner hitting each other's shoulder saying that they have one another's back. Funny how some lines seem to target the Corps more, like Steady We Ride, and others seem to target the warriors and Bertholdt more, like Demons Haunt Us. But they could both apply to the other group. We have a beautiful parallel between two mortal enemies about to collide that just share the same struggles and disillusion, the same simple desires in the face of the same cruelty to face. Two mortal enemies that love each other. They all grew up together. But despite this love, the world is just that cruel. The God of Destruction has arrived and it will only end with death. I hope I could give you a glimpse of why I absolutely love Bertholdt's character. I think this scene was great to present that in many ways. And I will see you later for another great piece of fiction.